Welcome to Chillax Recap Studio. Today we're diving into a 2014 action, adventure, mystery, and sci-fi film. Spoiler alert. Now sit back, chill, and relax. In a futuristic and post-apocalyptic Chicago, survivors divide into 5 factions based on their dispositions. Abnegation for the selfless volunteers and aid workers. Amity for the peaceful farmers. Candor for the honest lawyers and judges. Dauntless for the brave soldiers and police, and erudite for the intellectual scientists. Each year, all 16-year-olds must undergo a serum-induced psychological aptitude test, which informs them of their best-suited faction, but can choose any as their permanent group at the subsequent choosing ceremony. They can decide whether to remain with their family's faction or transfer to a new faction. Those who do not complete initiation into their new faction become factionless, and are forced to live in poverty on the streets of the city. 16-year-old Beatrice Pryor was born and raised in Abnegation, which runs the government. Her father, Andrew, serves on the ruling council along with Abnegation's leader, Marcus Eaton. She doesn't feel like she belongs in Abnegation because she doesn't see herself as naturally selfless. After her test results show equal attributes of multiple factions, Abnegation, erudite, and dauntless, making her divergent, her proctor, Tori Wu, a dauntless woman, records her results as Abnegation. She warns her to conceal her true results, as divergents can think independently and sense any serums injected into them. The government feels they threaten the existing social order. Before the choosing day, she agonizes over whether to stay in Abnegation to satisfy her parents, or whether she should change to another faction. Abnegation is the faction that forms the government, and erudite is not happy with that. So they spread rumors about Abnegation hoarding food and their leader Marcus abusing his son when he was a child. On choosing day, Beatrice decides to leave Abnegation and join Dauntless, while her brother Caleb chooses erudite. Eric Coulter, a brutal dauntless leader, reminds the initiates that anyone not meeting the faction's high expectations of commitment and fearlessness will become factionless. Beatrice volunteers to jump from a tall building into a dark hole and lands into a net. When 4, a transfer initiate's instructor, asks her name, she shortens it to Triss, shedding her earlier identity. Eric explains that not all the dauntless initiates will enter the dauntless faction. Only the top 21 will stay while the rest will be dismissed and become factionless. This is unusual, as most factions allow everyone who completes initiation to enter the faction. During the initiation, she befriends some transfer initiates, Christina, Al, and Will, while coming into conflict with others, Peter, Drew, and Molly. Triss initially struggles in dauntless training and ranks far below the cutoff after the first evaluation, but with 4's help, she slowly improves. Eric matches her against her nemesis, Peter Hayes, in a fight, which ends with Triss' defeat and recovery in the infirmary. Unwilling to miss the most important test, capture the flag, she leaves the infirmary, joins the other initiates, secures her team's victory, and makes the final cut. Initiation in the Dauntless faction is broken into 3 stages. The first involves learning how to handle guns and knives, as well as engaging in hand-to-hand combat with the other initiates. Despite being physically weaker than most of her fellow initiates, Triss finishes the stage in 20th place. One day, Triss' mom secretly came to the Dauntless faction to talk to her daughter. Triss realizes that her mother originally grew up in Dauntless. Her mother also finds that Triss' test results were divergent. She warns Triss that erudite is actively seeking out divergents and killing them as everyone is afraid of them. Meanwhile, erudite stirs dissent against Abnegation leadership in the city government. The erudite's reports accuse Abnegation's leader, Marcus, of abusing his son, who joined Dauntless 2 years before. Reports accuses Triss' parents because both their children switched factions, and falsely claim Abnegation is hoarding supplies. Stage 2 of the initiation involves simulations, similar to the aptitude tests, which force the initiates to face scenarios symbolic of their fears. Because Triss is divergent, she recognizes that she is under a simulation while others do not and can work the simulations to her advantage. For realizes that Triss is divergent. Knowing that Triss is doing better, Peter, Drew, and Al attack Triss and attempt to throw her into the chasm at Dauntless headquarters, but 4 intervenes. Later, Al begs Triss' forgiveness, but she rebuffs him, and he later commits suicide. The final stage of their initiation is a fear landscape, which gathers all of their fears in a single induced simulation in front of a big audience. For decides to train Triss to avoid detection as a divergent. He lets her into his own fear landscape and trains her how to think and act like a dauntless. Triss learns that 4 only has 4 fears in his landscape, a record, hence his nickname. She also learns his real name, Tobias, and that his father is Marcus, the leader. For later shares with Triss information he has discovered about the Erudites' plans to use the Dauntless to stage an attack on the abnegation. Triss successfully overcomes 6 fears in her fear landscape. After her test, Triss, along with all other Dauntless members, is injected with a new tracking serum that is supposedly only activated if someone goes missing. During the night following the ceremony, the serum induces a simulation, and all of the Dauntless become sleepwalking soldiers ordered to attack the abnegation compound. The serum does not work on Triss or 4 because they are both divergent. After arriving at the abnegation compound, Triss and 4 try to break away from the pack to escape. However, Triss is shot, but not mortally wounded, and when Tobias refuses to leave her behind, they are captured and brought before Janine, the erudite leader. She injects 4 with an experimental serum, which counteracts the divergent effect by controlling what he can see and hear. Janine directs 4 to be sent back to the Dauntless control room to oversee the attack, and sentences Triss to death. Triss is taken to be shot, but her mother saves her. As they escape, her mother reveals that she is also divergent, but while helping Triss escape, she is killed. She finds her father, Caleb, and Marcus in the safe house, and they resolve to go to the Dauntless compound to find the source of the simulation. Fighting their way through Dauntless headquarters, Triss' father sacrifices himself to clear the way for Triss to reach the control room. When she confronts the mind-controlled 4, he attacks Triss. In the fight, Triss realizes she cannot bring herself to kill him, and surrenders, causing Tobias to break through the special sight and sound-only simulation. Freed, 4 helps Triss shut down the erudite simulation and free the remaining Dauntless from their mind control. That's it for this recap. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this. Thanks for watching.